every part of my life before had prepared me for this moment, which means I had to go back to all of the hard challenges that I overcame and all the challenges that I faced in life and remembered this real simple thing that I learned from a mentor of mine named Tim Stonehocker. Life is never as bad as you think it is, and it's also never as good as you think it is. Life is what it is, and how you take it is how you make it. And I will tell you, there was a lot of times when I had to say, God, if you've given me this opportunity and you put a vision in my mind that I'm going to accomplish it, this is just a challenge that I need to overcome. And it was the thing that kept me going, is that I knew I had good partners. I knew we had a good plan. I knew we had a good cause. We had good purpose. That was what kept me going. And there were days that I could sit there and just go, man, I don't know what to do. But then that goes back to the educated idiot part, is my whole life before then had prepared me for this. And you know what that prepared me to do? One thing. What am I going to do about it? Not what am I going to think about it. What am I going to do about it? So you know what I did? Picked up the phone. I started making some phone calls. You know what else I did? I started getting my body in better shape. I was at the time literally 30 pounds heavier than I am today. And I realized this is a perfect opportunity for me to finally get my body in shape, my mind in shape, and to start taking some action that maybe other people wouldn't. And I looked at that as an opportunity, not as an issue. We had to totally reinvent ourselves. We had to actually go on out and find out how you're supposed to do business in a virtual world, how we actually act and conduct business and conduct ourselves professionally in a virtual world. It totally changed everything. How we contacted people, how we presented materials, how we made sure we serviced people. And more importantly, how did we attract talented people to join an organization when it was brand new, when we didn't have any operations? We had an office and no one was coming to. We didn't even have the right equipment or tools. So the question was, we could just fold ourselves up, hold our tables up, put our thumb in our mouth and cry about it and say, man, look at how tough life was and how bad we had it. Or we could change something. And I'm proud to say, 5 years later, we're a multi-million-dollar company. We're growing. We're in Canada. We're in Puerto Rico. We've got almost all 50 states covered. We have thousands of people working in our organization, and we have tens of thousands of clients. And we couldn't be prouder of fighting through the challenges to make a difference in people's lives and reaping the benefits. There's a woman named Angela Duckworth. She has done many studies about what is the best predictor of what people will be successful. Here's what she found. The grit versus talent conversation. Grit always beats talent. Always. Why? Because when hard work is involved in a success formula, hard work always beats talent. There's a quote that says, when talent doesn't work hard, hard work beats talent. And it's seen in every scenario. So the question is, do you have grit? And mental toughness is going through the hard things, through the challenges, as you go through that. Now, one of the foundations of what creates grit in your life is actually a focus on achieving a goal. It's making sure that you, in your mind, you literally say, nothing's going to stop me and nothing's going to prevent me from being successful. And let me give you a classic example, and everybody reveres these types of people. The U.S. Navy SEALs. I've been very, very privileged and honored to have several friends that have been on the teams and several people that have actually trained and taught at BUD/S. I'm very excited to say one thing. Those people are some of the most honorable people and some of my closest friends. And what's interesting about everybody, when I ask them this simple question, is why and how do people make it through BUD/S? What's the biggest indicator? And you know what their biggest indicator is? They don't quit. They have grit. They said, listen, when there's going to be times when you're going to be hungry, tired, you're cold, you're shaking uncontrollably. You literally can't control almost anything that's going on in your body. Your mind is racing, but the one thought is, I'm going to keep taking the next step, and the second thought is, I'm not going to let the person down next to me. It's not the biggest, the strongest, it's the ones that have the most grit. And what I find very interesting is when you look at the the success rate of people that are super talented versus people that are trustworthy, most of the focus and the main focus that they would want is the person who's trustworthy, that is good, has good talent and has a ton of ability, but doesn't have the most ability. Why? Because here's the values that I've found people that are in the teams. They value, and the three most common traits, they value these things: loyalty, integrity, and mental toughness. All three of those equal trust. So if you want to be a success and you want to be a person of intention and action and not be an educated idiot, boy, just look at the Navy SEALs. They may not be the most talented, but they sure as heck have the highest level of trust because they don't quit, they're loyal, they have integrity, and they're mentally tough. And don't get me wrong, they're skilled. They have knowledge. They have read the books. They've done the prep work. They never go into a battle without preparation, but they always go into a battle ready for action. So let's talk about how does that apply to business and business life. Boy, there's a whole bunch of things that I could use and so many people and examples. What I find is that when you look at people and you see the final product, you say, man, look at, they're so lucky. It's never that way. It's never that way. Any person who has had success, and even if they had been given a head start and they've been given some of the privileges because their parents paid the price for them to be there, they still have challenges. I know several people that have been given everything, but they've never overcome the challenges or never faced challenges, and they became educated idiots, and guess what? They lost everything. They lost everything. So let me give you some examples of true success of people that have been entrepreneurs in the business world. Everybody here is Thomas Edison, and Thomas Edison is all over the place. Anytime you turn on a light bulb, you literally start thinking about Thomas Edison created that. But did you know that Thomas Edison has failed 2,774 times before he finally got the light bulb right? Could you imagine if he quit at 2773? We'd never have the light bulb, or at least somebody else then would have actually taken that knowledge and done it. But he persevered. How about Walt Disney? Walt Disney was rejected 300 times by 300 different banks and lending institutions to get the funding to start his enterprise of Disney. How about J.K. Rowling? She faced a number of rejections for the book Harry Potter, which ended up being arguably one of the most successful book series in the world. And how about Sylvester Stallone? You know, we know him now as an icon in the movie industry, but when he was getting started, they loved his movie. They didn't love him. People wanted to buy his movie, but they didn't want him in it. And he was absolutely focused on becoming a success in acting and demonstrating his creative artistry. And even to the point when he rejected the money for the film and he had to sell his most prized possession and prized relationship, which is his dog, so that he could eat to fight another day to have that movie be a reality in his life. Ultimately, bought back his dog and got everything back, but that's mental toughness and grit, having a plan and being focused. Was not an educated idiot. Which brings me to the next point. Knowledge is power. Is it? I will tell you this. Yes, it's the start. It's the wick. But it doesn't start on fire. That wick doesn't get caught on fire to get that explosion to happen unless you have some form of motivation and burning desire to achieve something. See, motivation is equally as important as knowledge. Now,